Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 5 Tips and Tricks for Careers in Athletics. I am your host, Dr. Maury Mothwitz, with my all-time best, most wonderful, most stupendous, most amazing co-host, Jen Albanese. Hey, Jen.
Hey, Maury. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. How are we doing today?
Very good. We have a very cool guest, Kalei
Yes.
Mahi, who, very well recommended and
Oh my
has the
gosh.
best energy, the
Oh,
excitement,
so cool.
people
So
are gonna
cool.
love her.
Great
And then
tips. Great tips. Great
what
tips.
what she's doing with NIL and educating people. Like, if I was a student, I would want to work with her just for her
Yeah.
energy and her knowledge. Like, what a cool thing.
Yeah. It's so relevant for right now, what's going on in college athletics, especially. So yeah, it's a really good conversation with her. So yeah.
Okay, I got a crazy story because it happened to me this week, and I've never had anything else happen like this before. But I was running a
Okay.
men's soccer game, and anyone
Okay.
that might
Yeah.
have actually been on my social media lately probably has seen this. They stopped the
Okay.
entire game because a bunny ran out on the field during the Stanford-Syracuse men's soccer game, and they stopped the entire game. And I was requested by the officials to get the bunny off the field, a giant soccer field that this bunny is running around on, before we could restart play. It
Okay.
was one of the craziest things.
All right, I have a lot of questions. Okay,
Go.
so where did the bunny come from? Just like randomly just showed up, or did he come from a corner? From
It
where did he
felt for
come
me
from?
like he fell from the sky, but I like just I'm going to test your abilities as an athletic administrator, and God's just going to drop this bunny on this giant field. But I think it came out of there's like a wooded area by our
Yes. Okay.
scoreboard, and I
Okay.
mean the
Okay.
thing shot like a bunny right through all the players and went to the far side where there was just like the goalie. We were on one side of the field, and the bunny went to the opposite side. And then the officials looking at me like, you got to get it off. Like, clearly I understood what he wanted. So a
Yeah.
groundskeeper's jumping out. I'm jumping out and trying to shoo the bunny off the
Go
field.
bunny, go. How long was the bunny on the field?
It felt like 2 days, but I think it was only it had to be like a minute, maybe a minute and a half. I don't know. I don't think it was not a super long amount of time, but as you know, when you're working one of these
It feels like
events,
an eternity. It
it
feels like an
feels
eternity.
well,
30 seconds feels like an eternity. Yeah.
we had
Yep.
over 2,000 people watching. We had the teams on the field. We were on TV.
I was going to say they showed it on TV.
It's
They
broadcast.
showed it
If you go to my social, we can share it on ours. You can
Yes.
see it on. Thank God I was out of frame because I must have looked like a maniac.
You were probably
The entire women's soccer team's going, and they're watching, going, Maury, Maury, and I'm like, oh, I just want to get this bunny off the field. That's all I wanted.
oh my God. Was Coach Mack upset, or was he like, okay? Do you think it was
If
funny?
you listen to the broadcast, you have him saying that they should penalize Stanford because he's claimed that it was one extra man for them. So he's cracking jokes. He's looking at me with
that's good. At
like,
least
oh
he
yeah,
was cracking jokes.
I will say, if it's any coach, I'll take Coach Mack. I appreciate it. Other people might not have thought it was as funny. I didn't think it was particularly funny, but he let me get the time and get it off.
After the fact, obviously, it's very funny and a very unique, funny story that now you have in your stories of experiences.
Absolutely. I anyone that knows Pete Sala, who's a mentor to me, has done this forever. I literally texted him and I go, have you ever had to get an animal off the field, like a bunny, during a game? He's like, never, but it sounds like a lot of fun. And I was like, well, now I have
done that.
I have done one thing that you can't say that you've done, because he's always telling me all the stuff he's done that I haven't done yet. So I've got one up on Pete.
Oh, well, that's that in itself.
That's an accomplishment. I'll take it.
Accomplishment.
I can retire now.
Oh my God, that is too funny. Well, we're going to have to post that on social so everybody can witness that, because that's pretty incredible and very unique that happened to you. So, it's what we're here for, to just bring that unique content. I love it.
And don't try and catch the bunny. Just try and get it off the field for those who, for that next generation of sport administrators, just get it away.
Yeah.
Don't try and catch it, because you're not going to get it.
Hope it never comes back.
Oh, as soon as it ran off, I made the grounds guy lock everything and block it up, because do not let this thing back in. So we're good. We're good.
Perfect. So we're good. I love it.
With that, after our bunny experience, we're going to come back after these messages with an awesome guest. Stay here.
Are you a loyal 5 Tips and Tricks podcast listener? If not, now is the time to start. Get all your info and fun content on the podcast by following us on all our social channels at @AthCareerPod. The 5 Tips and Tricks podcast is a part of Athletic Career Consulting. Make sure to reach out to us. The one-stop shop for everything is our website, www.athcareer.com. Remember, follow and like us on @AthCareerPod, rate and review us, and get all your info at www.athcareer.com. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Maury, would you like to introduce our guest today?
For sure. From breaking records in the pool as a Division I swimmer at Syracuse University to breaking ground in the world of sports marketing, this guest brings over 2 decades of powerhouse experience with the career-leading brand partnerships for global giants like AT&T, Sony, eBay, Coca-Cola, Lexus, Molson Coors, YouTube, and Sephora. She's worked alongside top-tier athletes across the NFL, USGA, US Olympic teams, NASCAR, NBA, and NHRA, gaining rare insight into the business of branding at a high level. Now she brings that experience to the next generation. As the founder of NextGen Legacy, she's on a mission to help high school and early college athletes take control of their stories, build marketable personal brands, and navigate the evolving landscape of NIL with confidence and clarity. Whether it's curating content, educating families, or opening doors to independent partnerships, her work is reshaping what it means to be a student athlete today. We are so excited to have Kalei Mahi to the podcast. Welcome.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much, Maury. Can I please hire you as my publicist?
Oh,
so good.
He's such a good hype man. He's so good at that.
The top hype man for beginning a podcast. That's my next career.
Man, I forgot that, oh gosh, yeah, I had quite the career at Syracuse as a swimmer, and when you talk about it, I feel a little old.
Oh, no.
No, it's just very impressive, that bio. Very impressive.
Oh, thank you, Jen. Appreciate it. Oh, yes. Thank you so much for having me. I really am so excited to do this with you and to get a recommendation from an old Syracuse buddy of mine, Anne-Marie. This is such a treat. Thank you again.
Well, Anne-Marie was one of our best guests. She always threw on some great things, and she's a mentor of mine. I don't think I would still be doing what I do without having Anne-Marie around every once in a while to call. So she's awesome. And when she said, hey, we got a person for you to meet, I was like, this is great. We had to have you on. So
incredible.
Yes, absolutely.
So let's get into that tip. What's your first tip for those guests out there?
So such a great tip. And I think if I were to bring Anne-Marie back into the conversation, my first tip is really surrounding yourself with loud cheerleaders, right? These are the people who genuinely want to see you succeed. They don't really think of you as competition. They're the ones who are going to text you at 2:00 in the morning to make sure that you're still living, breathing, drinking water. You're working on a QBR, a quarterly business report for, the Stacys of the world who don't know that. But, those are the folks who are really going to pick you up, dust you off. They're going to give it to you for real and tell you, hey, you're allowed to have 5 minutes to wallow in your misery, and then you got to keep going, because those are the folks who are going to be with you forever. And I am so grateful to have a squad similar to that. People from college, Anne-Marie, my old roommate, Leah, our other sort of roommate. She lived 2 doors down, but Brittany, same thing. I mean, these ladies, it's been 20 years since we've all been in a room together, but these are my hype women. These are women who have been in sports, who understand the grind. They don't let me feel sorry for myself for more than 5 minutes. And then they tell me, dust yourself off. It's time to get going. So having those people in your corner are sometimes the boost that you need, right? The authentic relationships with your friends who are going to sort of drown out that internal heckler that you have. Have those people at your side at all times and let them carry you. And maybe this is rooted in relationships, but at the end of the day, like having those genuine relationships will help serve you, long term into your career. And I say that these are the women that I'm going to probably drink wine with when I'm 90 and we're in Italy and we're laughing
Yes.
about all the things that we did, 70 years prior when we were in college at Syracuse.
I love
I mean,
it.
this is such a good tip because I think a lot of times, often, especially people in sports feel like they can't be vulnerable, or that they like, especially with like people like, oh, I don't want to show my friends that things are not going the way that I want them to. And like, I got to tough this out on my own. And like, I feel like so often that puts people in such a bad spot. And like, what a great tip to like build a culture on yourself that you can be a support system for each other, and that you don't need to like create this barrier or this wall for yourself.
Totally.
Is a great idea.
Yeah, that energy matches energy, right? So if you have friends who won't let you wallow, you're going to do the same for them. So there's that give and take in a relationship. You're depositing into their bank account in terms of energy and things that they need, and they do the same for you. It's not just always this take relationship with one another. So I'm grateful for that. And it's funny, I still think of people that I talked to in my first job out of college at Amex, like 20 years later. These are people I still keep in touch with, who will pick up the phone and who will offer me introductions to folks because they genuinely care, and we're invested in one another. So have that squad and build that squad.
Yeah, you need that because it is tough sometimes. You hit tough
Yeah,
patches and there's challenges, and if you don't have that positivity behind you, sometimes you can really bring yourself down. It's I mean, Maury and I mean, I kind of was going through that this week, and to have those people that can bring you back up even when you're down, like that says something about them, those relationships that you have, and that keeps you going. So yeah, working in sports is tough sometimes. There are tough times there. You hit those patches, and to have those people behind you that genuinely care if you're okay, like you said, they check on you at 2 a.m, make sure you're drinking your water, you're sleeping, and you're okay. That means a lot, and that helps you keep going. So that's that one I take to heart this week. So thank you for that one. That one's
Jen,
good.
poor Jen has had a tough week. So you hit her at the right time with the right advice.
The right time. So that's really important, and those people really have stepped up for me in the last couple of days. So it means a lot. It really does.
oh, well, hang on to those folks. And if I can slide in and play a relief pitcher for them one day, you call me. I'm there.
Hey, Jen, you might be
Thank you.
texting somebody after the podcast.
I might do that. I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, with that, that's like a tip on all cylinders. Let's get to the next one. We got to see how we're going to beat that one.
I don't know. Let's see. The next one I would say is understand your DNA. And most people are going to be like, what the hell do you mean? Understand my DNA. But you really need to understand like what you bring to the table and feel it with your whole chest, right? Stand 10 toes down, because you may sit in a room with a bunch of senior executives. You could be a woman in sports in a male dominated room, but there's a reason why you're in that room. And you need to understand that there are strengths that you have that some of these folks may not. So lean into that. Don't be fearful of it. Own it with your entire chest, but also keep yourself open to learning, right? Because you don't know everything. I think when we walk out of Syracuse and we walk out of the dome and we've got a diploma in hand, we think we can conquer the world. We know everything. And I think now, in a day of chat GPT and perplexity, and you have all these available AI tools, you could probably gas yourself up a little bit and say, like, I'm the smartest person in the room. But there are things that you are absolutely strong at that others don't have strengths in. And if for some reason you can't think of any, call up 3 people and say, what do you think I'm good at? Because those people who know you best are going to give it to you, and they're going to make you think, oh my God, you're right. I can speak clearly. I can articulate ideas. I do have opinions that actually make sense and matter. Lean into that. Don't be afraid of it. Have a voice. Maybe know when it's appropriate to speak up into a room, but at the end of the day, just 10 toes down, feel it with your chest, and know what your DNA is in the organization.
That's awesome. One of the things that I and this is kind of adjacent to what you just said, but now in this new world that you're in with NIL and starting NextGen, how are you working with your clients and the people that you're bringing up? Because clearly knowing who you are, understanding your DNA is clearly a part of what you're looking to do with this group you founded. So how has that started to tie in? And clearly it's important for being a professional, but those people that clearly are early on and in presenting themselves and turning this into a business, branding themselves.
Yeah.
So I think there's a little bit of this trend happening on LinkedIn where people are saying, I'm an expert in NIL, or literally you're not. Like,
no one is.
You're not.
Yeah. He hasn't been around long enough.
This has not been a thing, right? Like there was the bag man of the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, right? There was a shadow figure that would just drop a bag of money and, there all of a sudden you have money. We don't know why, but this has become a legitimized business, and people come in who have different value propositions from one another, right? And when I took a step back in my own career and I sort of zoomed in to what I can offer, I worked D1 swimmer, so I can relate to a student athlete in that capacity. I mean, I understand the grind, the hours that you're spending in the gym and in the pool or pitch or field or whatever. I understand that. I understand what it means to grind as a student, right? Dr. Short was one of my favorite classes, and I would go to her lecture, and
Sarah Short.
She was phenomenal. I mean, but you have to grind because you have to continue to keep your GPA up in order to stay eligible, right? But then when I graduated, I was able to go brand side, work for amazing brands like AT&T, Coca-Cola, Amex. But now when I pivoted into the agency world, I felt like I had a lens that I could share with people from both the agency side, the brand side, the student athlete side. But then most recently, I I scaled and built an influencer division at a traditional ad agency, because historically, media dollars would be splintered off and they would go to a place like Whaler. So you'd have two agencies sort of doing the same thing, but one focusing on influencer and one focusing on everything else for the campaign. But for me, I felt like because there's such little education out there for these kids, I wanted to be able to use the experiences that I've had with these massive brands, with these agencies, as a D1 athlete, and now as a parent, to say, these are the things that you need to do in order to protect yourself. I can tell you what I can tell you about contracts and things that I've learned through the influencer world. I can tell you about your basic financial things like EIN numbers and when should you think about an LLC and some basic things for savings. But I surround myself with experts in those industries, and I've been really fortunate to lean on some folks who are great in the NIL legal world, and I will push student athletes to go talk to them prior to signing contracts, because again, I can only share my experience and things to look out for and provide cautionary tale. But somebody like a Josie Liner, who happens to live here in South Bay with me, she can take these kids and from a mom lens and from a legal lens say, hey, this is what it is. So when I understood my DNA, I had to do all of these other jobs and go through all of these other experiences in order to come here and be present in the NIL space and say, I can genuinely help and I want to help, because these student athletes deserve a chance to earn life-changing money and to build a legacy of their own. Because, unfortunately, everybody has an expiration date in their sport, whether you want to believe it or not. I had an expiration date in mine. So let's just set them up for the future. And so that's where my DNA sort of landed me here in this NIL space.
Awesome. Thank you. That was so interesting. We really appreciate it.
Sweat.
Yeah. All right.
Ready for number 3?
Yeah, number 3. So this one is my favorite. This is kind of going back to this, journey I've had in my career, but embrace the zigzag. And I think sometimes we think of careers as being linear moves, and for some, maybe my husband has been in, the food service industry for a really long time, and it's very linear for him. He understands what his goals are and how he moves. Mine looks like a drunk game of chutes and ladders. My career has been all over the place, and again, everything that I've experienced in my career with the Coca-Cola company, learning to audit and observe and learn about what a global brand does during the FIFA World Cup or during the Olympics, I got to see what the foundation of that was and how, they're going to market to literally the world with this partnership with the Olympics and with FIFA. But then, going to the agency side and going into auto. I mean, I worked for Lexus on the national side, and I had the time of my life. It was 4 years of golf. I was on the U.S. Open circuit with Lexus. It was
Oh
a
my
lot of
God.
That's
Awesome.
Dren's dream.
Oh, that's so
so good.
cool.
It
So
was
cool.
amazing. I mean, I will never forget running into Huey Lewis. Again, it'll date me in terms of
Yeah.
music, but I ran into Huey Lewis in San Francisco at the US Open my very first year working for Lexus. And he walks up and says, "Hi, I'm Huey." I went, "Are you for real?" Obviously.
Yeah, like, hello,
You know,
obviously.
yeah. And I was a little starstruck, but I got an opportunity to meet some amazing brand ambassadors, some amazing athletes. There were some incredible executives that I worked with on the Lexus side, and my client Adrian was the best of the best. He was the guy that would be out there with us at 2 o'clock in the morning for a loading. Again, a lot of 2 a.m. stuff. I swear I didn't work that late most times, but
That
it seems to
sometimes
be
that's the hour for sports, man. It doesn't
yeah,
matter. 2 a.m., 4 a.m. We're talking. That
truly.
happens all the time.
So he was the kind of guy that was out there helping us build things because he felt weird about being the client and leaning on his agency to knock out all of the details. But then I zigged again because traveling on the road with a young family that many weeks out of the year got really difficult. So I zigged one more time over to AT&T on the brand side and worked for the Dan Patrick and the Rich Eisen show doing partnerships. And we had no idea what we were doing over there because he was a multi-distributed show, streaming, podcast, TV. He was breaking into social media at that time. Like there were all of these things that we had to figure out. So interesting opportunity to build relationships and understand, because Dan said to me on the very first day I worked for him is, "I don't want advertisers. I want partners. I want people who are going to stay here with me and who are going to, carry me through years. I don't want to have this revolving door of people because I'm a sports show first. I'm not, NASCAR of sports shows. I just want partners that are here to do great things with me. And can you help me figure that out?" Yeah, challenge accepted.
Yeah,
And we
exactly.
were working on Super Bowls, and we were working on AT&T Pro-Ams together, and we were figuring out these partnerships in real time and what that looked like. And I'm very proud to say that almost 8-9 years later, there was a partnership on the Dan Patrick Show with Traeger Grills that I was a part of kicking off, and they still to this day have firmly invested in Dan Patrick, and they still continue to do Meat Fridays, which was a fun segment that we incorporated, and it was great. I mean, and you get people to build equity into a brand like that. So, you can play drunk shoots and ladders with your career as well, and everything's going to be fine. But every opportunity, every job, every thing that you've learned is a brick in the foundation of ultimately what you're going to do next, and all of the great things that you're going to work on in the future. So it may seem like if you got passed over for a job, that's okay because you're making space for the next thing.
Yeah. I love that, because I think people think they have all of this figured out, like right in the beginning. Like you said, when you graduate, everybody feels like okay, here's my path. I'm going to do this, this, and this. And if they veer off of it, it's, oh, I'm a failure, or I'm not good enough for this, or I can't do this. And it's good to hear people say it's okay to have different routes in your career, because it's all going to lead you to where you're supposed to be. So
Yeah,
I think that's good,
athlete.
especially. Yeah, exactly. Right. It's a perfect example. Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, athletes now, I think with this NIL world, right, we are trying to help athletes identify what they love first, right? When you're creating a brand, what are the things that you stand for? What are your brand pillars? You may not share the same brand pillars as Nike, and that's okay. But maybe you're somebody who believes in mental health, or you believe in travel, or you're a lifestyle creator, or whatever that is. You can zigzag from being a student athlete into this next career of whatever that is. If you want to be the next Samantha Brown who travels the world, or, Phil Rosenthal from Somebody Feed Phil, go do those things. But don't have to just stay. And for the NFL players and the NBA players who graduate and do other things, they go on the speaking circuit, they get invested in real estate companies. That's amazing. Look at Shaq, the busiest man.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, he's into everything.
Literally everything. And he's such a role model for like the hustle and the grind and reinventing yourself. I mean, the man who bought into Ring and helped them get acquired by Amazon is the same man who is DJing in,
Yeah,
Coachella.
Right. It's crazy.
exactly.
Talk about a
Exactly.
zigzag.
Right. That's a perfect example. And I love that. I love that. Love
What a
that
great
one.
tip. You're killing it.
I
Okay.
know. These are
Number
so
4,
good.
Jen. We're number
Yes,
4.
we're on number 4. Yes.
Keep us on
Number
track.
4. So one thing that I am terrible at is patience, right? And I think a lot of people feel that way, but I think one of the tips that we should all really sort of lean into is being patient with yourself. And I think we have this idea, again, nonlinear career. We're just going to kind of figure it out as we go along. But you got to be patient with yourself because you're building endurance. You got to build endurance in your career, whether that's in sports or you're in finance. This isn't a sprint. As much as I was a sprinter in college and I had to relearn endurance, this has been a challenge for me because you want to do everything all at once. You want to, you want to be better. You want to get that next director of marketing job, or you want to be the next VP of whatever company, or if you're an athlete, you want to land the next brand deal, but be patient with yourself. Be willing to put the work in, put your blinders on, don't worry about comparing your journey to somebody else's. Just hone in on the things that you can control. Go do that and go do it great and be the best at it. But give yourself a little grace. Realize that you're not going to be president of the United States, tomorrow because you took an econ class, or you took a politics class. I mean, you're going to have to work your way up to it. And that's one thing that even at this age and at this stage of my life, I've had to remind myself to be patient with the journey. NIL is changing on an hourly basis.
Yeah.
What happens today is not the same thing that'll happen tomorrow. So, be patient, give yourself grace, surround yourself again with your friends, your hype squad, tell them how you're feeling, talk about it and map it out. I mean, there's, again, zigzag. I'm trying to tie all these things back together.
It's great. It's perfect.
Make sure that you give yourself grace, because the person that you want to tell yourself, 20 years ago, I know we'll get into tip 5 or what are the things that I've learned, but I think if I were to take a step back and take a deep breath and say, what should I have done differently? I shouldn't have rushed things, because every experience I've had has led me here. So
I feel like working with students, like being in a college setting and working a lot, we're really fortunate that we have a lot of young people that we get to mentor and bring in as part of our roles in what we do. And this is one of those ones I feel like it's such a hard lesson to follow, because everyone's ready to just be at the top, and they think that that if they're not going 100 miles an hour and getting to the top of the pyramid right then, that there's something wrong with them. And the reality is, and I mean, I think all 3 of us would say it, like, you don't know what you don't know, and you can't get there until you get through it.
Right.
And the farther out you get, like the older I've gotten, the longer I've been doing this, the more I'm like, you know what? I have so much more to offer now than I did, 15 years ago or 20 years ago. And I thought that, oh, okay, I'm going to get up there, and it's making me a better person to work in the field, making me better at what I do, and appreciating all those people before me that I've learned these things from and got mentored through, and that there's nothing wrong with starting where you belong and building up to where you're going. And what a good tip to just say, don't rush it. It's not worth it. It's not helping you, and it's not going to make your life better, and it's not going to make your career any better.
I mean, I think the education piece of what you offer to your students and reminding them that they don't need to rush through everything, right? It's the best piece of advice, because when you rush, you miss things, you miss details,
you make mistakes.
Mm-hmm. And then people get sensitive when they make a mistake, and then they're called on it, and they're like, well, what the hell? And you're like, no, but actually this is me telling you made a mistake, and here's how to fix it so that you learn for the future. So it's just a learning opportunity.
Yeah, you're not being open to learn because you think that you need to know everything, that no way that you could know. Like, there's no way that you would be able to understand that yet, at an early level. So it means that you're accepting that you're ready to learn and get better. So what an awesome tip.
I think the patience, the one last thing I'll say about patience, especially as it relates to NIL and student athletes who are building their brands, is that They think that, yes, I play football, or yes, I play soccer or basketball, and I should have 50,000 followers right now. Well, what work are you doing, number one, to try and build that community and that following? Are you putting the work in the way that you do at free throws? If you suck at free throws, you're going to put in the extra practice.
Right.
Be patient with yourself, because you're not going to get the free throws all the time. But with NIL, it's the same thing. It takes time to build a community. And so people will say, like, well, how is it that, Livy Dunn has these millions of followers as a gymnast? Well, she put the work in, and she was patient, and she tested what worked and what didn't work. So, that's all part of the learning process. You test and adjust what you can, what works for you.
Yeah, she also didn't get all those followers overnight. Like, it wasn't like snap of the fingers. So
no.
Patience is key for everyone in every walk of life, I feel like. And never too old for that. Yeah. Okay. All right. Last one, right, Maury? We're on the last one.
You're on the last one. Jen, you're up.
All right. So what do you know now that you wish you knew then? So what do you know now at this point in your career that you wish you knew when you first started?
I wish that I knew that being passed over for a promotion didn't mean it was a dead end. It was really more like career CrossFit. In the sense of, like, CrossFit will beat the hell out of you, and it'll make you stronger. And you are going to do repetitive motions and repetitive exercise to get you stronger in an area. But those roadblocks that were put up in front of me, eventually I was strong enough to knock them down and break through that next wall. But it's really about, don't think of this as a rejection. Every no leads you to another and alternate path. Just lean into that. The more flexibility you have, the better. I worked in experiential, and you had to be prepared for literally anything. And I think with our jobs in experiential, as you both know, anything can happen. I had a Lexus vehicle fell through the floor of one of our tents right before we opened.
Are you serious?
It was at the Women's US Open in Sacramento.
That's a nightmare.
That was
nightmare. What did you do? Oh, so my God.
At one point, they said, do we shut this down? So we had to get legal involved. You have to set the everything in motion, right, for a contingency plan of, like, what's worst case scenario. Of course, we're dealing with terrible weather. We were dealing with rain, a soft ground. Did we expect the car was going to, fall through the floor? No. But 24 hours prior to us opening the activation, we had to get a crane in. We had to try and lift everything up.
Goodness.
We had to re-secure the floor and make the decision of, okay, we're going to open to the public, but we're going to monitor from a structural engineer perspective that make sure that nobody is in danger while being in this space. But, having that nimbleness and that, being Gumby to sort of take whatever is thrown at you and then adjust, and figure out that it's happening for a reason.
That's crazy. Well, that flexibility is another one that some people don't have. And to work in sports, I feel like that's one of the key attributes. If you can be flexible and be able to, like, deal with anything that's thrown at you, is important.
And that includes not getting a position or not being that you're willing to say, okay, this wasn't the opportunity for me. And
you're zigging and zagging.
There's something that's coming down that pike, and that makes it important. So awesome.
Exactly.
Well, Kalei, thank you so much for your time today. We so much appreciate hearing your advice. Before we leave, any, how do people connect with NextGen? What are some of your social feeds or things that we can connect the audience with? We'd love to connect everybody.
Thanks, you guys. This is such a treat. And I feel like I could talk to you both for hours.
I know. We could keep going. I know. This is great.
But as far as how people can reach me, they can obviously reach me through nextgenlegacynil.com, or they can find me on Instagram at nextgenlegacy_NIL. Happy to, have conversations with people who are curious about this space, or if a student athlete is interested in understanding what their earning potential is. The answer is yes. Your earning potential exists. Doesn't matter if you are at the JUCO level, you're at the high school level, you're on up to a D1 in a Power 5 conference. Everybody has an opportunity to capitalize in this space, and I'm here to help out any way that I can.
Thank you so much, both for your time and getting involved with this area that's ever growing. So we really enjoyed having you.
Yes, this is
Likewise.
so great. Thank you so much again. And thanks everybody for listening. Make sure you are following and liking us on all our socials at Ath Career Pod. And new episodes drop every Tuesday. You can listen on all your podcast platforms. Make sure you rate, review, like us, because that helps grow the show. So this was great. And thanks everybody for listening. And thank you so much.
See you next time.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Good night, guys.
If you like the 5 Tips and Tricks podcast, make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. You can rate and review us, including questions that may be answered on future episodes. The 5 Tips and Tricks podcast for careers in athletics is part of Athletic Career Consulting. Check us out at www.athcareer.com. Don't forget to follow and like us on your top social media platforms.